Hey guys, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Beatles' first album, Please Please Me, on Parlophone Records from 1963. At this time, it was standard in the UK to have 14 tracks on an LP, but the Beatles only had 4 tracks recorded, 2 singles and their B-sides. Not wanting to lose momentum on the wild success of the #1 UK single Please Please Me, Parlophone rushed the release of this album, scheduling only 2 3-hour recording sessions on February 11th, 1963. A third session was added later that evening. The Beatles cut 11 songs during this 9-hour recording marathon, 10 of which ended up on the album. At this point in their careers, the Beatles were so tight as a group from playing so many live shows that this album was essentially recorded live with very few overdubs or edits. Each Beatle was paid the standard musician's rate of £7.50 for each of the 3 recording sessions, which is roughly around $180 in today's money. The album was released just over a month later on March 22nd, 1963. The original title was going to be Off the Beatle Track, with a cover photo of the Beatles in front of the insect house at the London Zoo. But the powers that be rejected the idea and were left with a much better album title and cover photo. The album wasn't officially released in the US until the late 80s. However, most of the songs could be found on Introducing the Beatles on VJ Records, released in 1964, and on the 1965 Capitol release, The Early Beatles. We're flipping over to side 2 and starting with track 7, Twist and Shout.
Well, shake it up, baby, now. Shake it up, baby. Twist and shout.
Every time I hear this, I think of the film Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which reminds me, when I was little, whenever my family would rent a film, I would rewatch the entire thing the next morning all by myself. I remember my oldest brother asking me what I was doing, and I didn't have a great answer for him, but I suppose it has something to do with me rewatching my favorite scenes. And the parade scene, which this song is featured, is certainly one of them. Although for the film, director John Hughes added a brass section to the mix of the song, which didn't sit well with a certain Beatle, Paul McCartney, who said, if it had needed brass, we'd had stuck it on ourselves. Hughes did feel bad about offending a Beatle and explains, we saw a band and we needed to hear the instruments, referring to the marching band featured in the parade. What's amazing about this song is that it's a one-take wonder. Producer George Martin scheduled this song last because he knew that John would most likely throw his voice out due to the high energy required and the fact that his voice was already strained due to an illness. John did go for a second take but could not finish. After the recording experience, George Martin was quoted as saying, I don't know how they do it. We've been recording all day and the longer we go on, the better they get. And this song is certainly testament to that. Okay, we're gonna jump back to one of my favorite tunes, track 1 on side 2, Love Me Do.
Love, love me do. You know I love you.
Oh man, when I was a little kid, I used to think that the harmonica part on this song sounded so similar to the one used in the closing credits of Sesame Street. I don't know, what do you guys think? I mean, I might be a little off my rocker, which wouldn't be that unlikely considering my recent acid trip. I have to agree with Rolling Stone magazine when they put it 39th on their list of the greatest albums of all time. And what's cool is that there was a reissue put out just last year in both mono and stereo, so there's no reason not to own this album. One more thing before we go, I have some awesome finds. Okay guys, so my dad picked up this big sack of 45s at a garage sale for, I want to say, just a couple of bucks. And most of it were just common records, but then I saw this one and it intrigued me. It's on Mountain Dew Records. I found out it was released in 1950. It's by Archie Shibley and his Mountain Dew Boys, and it's called Hot Rod Race. Now, what's significant about this, it is one of the first times racing culture was incorporated into popular music. It became a hit in 1951, and Archie actually went on to write 4 more sequels to this, one of which spawned the answer song Hot Rod Lincoln, which I'm sure you've heard of because it became a much bigger hit. It also inspired such songs as Chuck Berry's Maybelline and Gene Vincent's Race with the Devil. So that is all the time I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I am your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side. God damn it. And cut.
It sounds so stupid if there's no music.